I think it's less likely to work if you're not checking all the boxes, just like Tim says every morning. But if I'm checking, 9 out of the 10 boxes, and another thing I did with the VWAP, the high of the day pattern breakouts, is something that I still do. Is I size in and out a little bit differently, I think, than some people. I size all the way in at first. I go all in at first with my position on what I'm going to risk. And then when it goes up to a predetermined amount that I deem as profitable, I will sell half of my position right away. And I do that in my mind, and it may be a bad habit that I need to break, but it has deemed profitable for me, and so I'm sticking to it for now.
All right, welcome back to the Steady Trade Podcast, everyone. It's funny. Sometimes they say it's better to be lucky than good, but we've got a great guest today, a SteadyTrade Team member, an awesome contributor, and then we've got Steven, the guy that's better to be lucky than good quite frequently, and is also in the wise words of Red Green. Much like Steven, if the ladies can't call you handsome, at least they can call you handy. And, the ladies never call it Steven handsome, that's for sure. So that being said, we've got everyone here. We got Kim, we got Steven, and we've got Will Beebe. Again, I mentioned he's a member of a great contributor to the SteadyTrade Team. So we've got an amazing, and again, GameStop going wild today. So we've got plenty to talk about. So, yeah.
Won't stop.
Welcome, Will. It's so good to have you here.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's just been an amazing experience for me. And I can't say enough, how important the program is to me. And so I'm definitely glad to be here, and I appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself so that viewers have some context for you. When did you join the pro room, and or just in general, your trading background?
My trading goes back probably about 3.5 years now. And I joined the program midsummer, June, July, something like that. And so I've been in the program, 9 months, 8.5 months, but I've been trading for about 3.5 years. And, like a lot of people, I started, I figured myself as being kind of a smart guy in finance, whatever, and just started putting money into brokerage accounts, subscribing to all the chat lists and the Twitter feeds and following this and that. And, it was a nightmare. I can't even tell you the amount of losses I've experienced and the hardships by following alerts and just winging it and holding on for dear life. And I was that guy. And it's just been, and it was just a roller coaster, up a couple thousand, down a couple thousand, whatever, up, down. And pretty soon I'm on fire and I'm rolling and I'm back, and then boom, it's over, and on and on and on and on. And then I started watching YouTube videos, and that's when I ran across some videos with Tim Sykes and Tim Bohen. And I was still at that point though, like, those guys started with millions, they just want my money. That's how they make all their money, is they charge us all those fees. And it's just not the case. I can't stress enough the need for a proper education, especially in this industry. It's cutthroat. It's you win or you lose. And sure, you're always striving to get better. But too many people, I think, in trading want to make a C or a gray area. And there's not. There's A and then there's B. And as soon as you start creating a C or a gray area,
I like that.
You're done, and
That's awesome.
and so that's a little bit about my background. And so this year has been amazing. I am a full-time trader now. I'm consistently profitable, and I can't thank Tim Bohen enough. I came face to face here, and I truly mean it. You guys and the rest of the team are the reason why I'm sitting here profitable now. And
awesome.
yeah,
good job.
It's a true story.
Congrats.
True story.
That's so. When did you go into the program?
I believe something tells me it was June or July.
Yeah, somewhere in the summer, I think.
Yeah. I pulled the trigger on it, and I still got a lot of things to work on. I am by no, and like Tim always says, and other guys, it is a nonstop process. You always should be learning.
That's what's cool about it. That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's, I think, an important thing to people that are getting into this. It's like, if that intimidates you or if that turns you off, well, then maybe pursue something else, because you're never done. It's just when you think you've got something, figured out, then the market shifts or your setup goes away, or, the moves change. So yeah, I mean, that's one thing I tell people. And you've heard me say, hey, become obsessed with this and be obsessed with that fact that you're never done. And if that scares you or intimidates you, then, do something else, because you ain't getting there. So,
well, I'm just curious to ask, what was it that clicked for you? And how many hours are you putting in a day? Because I always ask this to everyone, because I'm always curious my journey compared to other people's journey. How many hours were you putting in a day to get this thing to click?
When I first started, I was probably, I was waking up late, a couple hours a day tops, but I put in more time now than I do in a full-time job, 8, 10, 12 hours sometimes. And then I do take time
we just
off,
lost like half the listeners.
Yeah. No, it's I have a daily.
No, I love it. But
and Tim talks about the importance of waking up super early, and I do. I get up at 3:30 in the morning Pacific time. I'm in the chat by 4 a.m. I try to be, and I put in a lot of time, and I hear from all kinds of people that are successful business owners that they. You work longer hours owning your own business. And so I take this as me owning my own business. Yep. I am my own boss. And if I don't put in the time, I'm not going to be successful. So right now I can say that I put in between, 6 and 12 hours a day, depending on how heavy the day is. And then I take a day or two off to make sure I can reboot. But I think the time off is exceptionally important. But
yeah, I can say this, that Will, I'm in chat, depending on the day, most days 6, 7 a.m. And I can't remember the last day he wasn't already there. And I'm Eastern time. He's Pacific time, maybe. Yeah. So, and I can't remember the last day. Now, again, I think, sometimes you chill in the afternoon a little bit, I think, but I can't remember like the last day that I didn't see him there. Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's awesome. Will, I just love that you said that about seeing it as your own business. The traders that I seem to talk to that are really consistent are entrepreneurial right from the get-go. Like they see themselves as an entrepreneur and this is their business. So that's a really great, thing you spoke to, and just the hours, the commitment, and it's your business. That's like, if you are running a business, you are going to take it super seriously. And that's what it sounds like.
And I think I think that's one, we all hear about the crazy high failure rate. I mean, and great point that you brought up, and Kim too, because I mean, listen, if your name's on the sign out front, you're invested. Yep. And I think a lot of people throw $5,000 in a brokerage account, and it's not, it's not like your name's out front, and to me, I've always approached it that way. And it sounds like Will does too. It's like his name's out front. That's his money. That's his business. And he's going to treat it that way. It's not, I blew up my account, couple months, I'll I'll take a credit card advance and drop a little more in my Robinhood. You know, it's like that's, and I think that's so important. I think that's why you see that high failure rates, because people don't think of it that way. It's like, well, whatever.
Right.
I'll take
like
a few
a
months
lottery.
off and throw, and I'll throw some
It's like a
money.
lottery. I'll throw my money out there. I'll listen to a couple of guys on Twitter, and then I'll get the jackpot. It's like, since when does the market act like a lottery? It's like, and lotteries don't really, if you look at lotteries, they don't have a great track record. So
No.
Don't get me started on lottery.
With Steven Johnson, and you know, the click part is, I think, at least for myself, and I would have to think that it has to be a lot of new traders out there, that you have to get to the point that you have to submit to the fact that you don't know what you're doing when you start out, and that's okay. But you have to be submissive to the fact that you need help, you need education, you need to put in time. And so if you are always at this elevated level of, you think you know better, you think you know this, and think you know that, and are unable to accept training and unable to accept knowledge, you know, that you're not going to move very far. You're not going to move very far in anything that you want to be successful in. And so for me, it was getting off of that horse.
So that horse, let's just talk about that, because at the start you said you came into this because you thought you knew so much about finance. So just tell us a little bit about that kind of, let's say, lack of humility at the beginning. And then what was it that pivoted you to realize, oh crap, I really do need, you might have been smart. I'm not saying you weren't, but yet that this kind of smart or this kind of knowledge, what started, and then where did you wake up to that?
Well, you know, it started out when I got out of the service. I went right to college here at OSU in Oregon, and I got degrees, a graduate degree and a bachelor's degree in economics. And I majored in economics and minored in accounting. And so I considered myself,
that really helped you trade GME, right? You know,
right. And so when I started trading, I thought I was just going to be a natural fit for it, but I can't even tell you how far off day trading is, or trading in general, from organizing a QuickBooks or doing someone's accounting at H&R Block or whatever. Like, none of that matters. And besides the fact that most of the professors that teach you in college aren't millionaire business owners themselves, so I don't even know why they're teaching half of them. But you know, that was part of it, when I realized that it doesn't matter how smart you think you are. It doesn't matter what college you went to. None of that matters. You know, it's just trading is just as grossly, you know, it can impact you in the upside and the downside, no matter what your background is. And so never think that you're too smart. And I did think I was too smart, and I was just that. So.
Wow. It's amazing.
Yeah. Like, can I just ask, because like, obviously you've got profitable, I've got profitable, and Tim's got profitable, and Kim's on the way. But I'm just like, for everyone else, like, what was, because to get success, you find a good process that works for you, and you just repeat until you're learning it works, right? Until you've got a system. So what was your process to get profitable?
My process, a couple things I did, specifically as far as trading related. I stopped trading setups for the most part in the afternoon, because I was always losing. I always narrowed my watch list down to 4 or 5 selections in the morning, and I always had a plan. You know, I always had a plan. And so as far as the specific process goes, you talking about like the specific types of patterns?
Like, yeah, it's like, how did it click for you? Like, what was the first pattern where we're like, oh wow, this does this? Were you like tracking spreadsheets, or were you just like repeating the process, or saving charts? Or
the way I started out to be consistently profitable specifically was sticking to high percentage trades, and that was the afternoon VWAP hold, high day breakout, and then swing into the next day. Specifically, I would do that over and over on small positions until I realized, okay, that worked. And then I would try from there. I switched to the morning, the 9:45 breakouts, and then I do one or the other. And so specifically, that's what I would do. And I would track my data on spreadsheets. I have Excel spreadsheets, and I still had a problem with, bag holding stocks and hoping they would go up, and adjusting my stop down when it broke through it, and then hoping it would go up later. And so once I specifically held to my plan that I created before I entered the trade, that's when I started to realize on paper that, wait a minute, okay, this is my highest percentage trade. And I realized that, I still lose this many times, 40%, 35% of the time, but I'm winning more than I'm losing. And that's when it clicked. And then once I got better and better at the afternoon trade, the 1:32 p.m. type trade, that's when I started looking at the mornings. And then that's when I started looking at the OTCs and stuff like that. And so specifically, that is where I started really tracking my data, because I never tracked my data before June, July, never. I just kind of kept it in my head as a running. I'm kind of up. I'm down a couple grand. I know I'm down a couple grand because I'm looking at my bank, and that's really,
But but how insane is it though? Because I learned exactly the same way. I was like, I think this pattern works, and then I just did it over. Like mine was the gap and crop, and I just did it over and over and over again. And then like I started realizing patterns within the pattern, where I was like, this kind of gap and crop doesn't work. Or like, for example, was it ENVB or whatever it was today? It was ridiculous. The volume was way too big. And I'm like, that is a big warning saying that this might not work. So did you have that as well on the VWAP poll? Do you just like, is there like signs of this is less likely to work?
Well, I mean, I think it's less likely to work if you're not checking all the boxes, just like Tim says every morning. But if I'm checking, 9 out of the 10 boxes, and another thing I did with the VWAP, the high of the day pattern breakouts, is something that I still do. Is I size in and out a little bit differently, I think, than some people. I size all the way in at first. I go all in at first with my position on what I'm going to risk, and then when it goes up to a predetermined amount that I deem as profitable, I will sell half of my position right away. And I do that in my mind, and it may be a bad habit that I need to break, but it has deemed profitable for me, and so I'm sticking to it for now. And then when it goes up that another 1 quarter toward my goal, I size out the last quarter, and then I let the last quarter ride for the final part of the breakout. And I do that in case it does turn around and go south on me. I've already sold half, and so even if it goes down to my stop, I'm at least going to be at a break-even trade, mathematically speaking. And that may be a little bit different than how some people go in and out, but I don't know. It works for me.
I'm very curious about that. Will, what is that? Tim, is that is really, I've never heard anybody say that before.
No, I mean, I got no problem with it because, basically with these setups of these trading, I mean, again, back to the, we're kind of talking about that VWAP hold. Typically when they work, I mean, they work quickly. So it is aggressive. But again, he's been around. He knows what he's doing. So he's just hammering it, because when they break, I mean, listen, a lot of them fail. Okay, I talk about this. Okay. No setup works 100% of the time. But when you got that, like a Zila yesterday, that just hangs around. And when it hit the high of day, I mean, it spiked $1 like instantly. So he's just hammering that and then selling in to the spike and then letting it work. I mean, it's aggressive. But then ultimately, if it fails, let's say it does spike and he doesn't scale out and it fails, he takes his loss. He said he has a position size that matches his max loss. So he's catching that quick move. So
that's cool,
especially in these shitty stocks, I mean, that's what they do. I mean, a lot. Yeah. Again, Zila ripped $1 a share at 2:00 or noon yesterday, but then they came back hard. So, he's just piling into that move that he's seen repeats. So it's aggressive. Cool. But I don't mind it if you're if you've been around,
I
Yeah.
actually trade the same way. Just so you know.
Okay.
A lot of the times with these first green days, right? You know, when you think it's the top, but you're not sure. I'll always just take a third and put a stop in for the other 2/3. And I think I read Market Wizard, the author, saying that he traded the same way. Like instantly take profits on the first third. So you're never down on the trade if you lose.
Yeah, that's kind of that house's money methodology.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly,
theory,
exactly.
You know, yeah, you know that way. Worst case scenario, you walk away break even, or maybe you walk away with $50 or something. You know, because you took that. You know, you banked that quick move type idea.
Yeah. I have
had it backfire a little bit, but you know.
Me too.
All right, I have a question for all of you guys. Something, Stephen, you just said a minute ago was the pattern within the pattern.
Thank you. I was gonna, yep.
That was really interesting. So do you guys, individually, I'd like to know what you all think about that. Is that the key? Is finding the pattern within the pattern? And is that only done after like eyeball time, after being exposed? Like, do you get to see those patterns within the patterns quicker? Could you see them quicker? Do you have to just be here long? I'm
gonna go first because I always butt in, and hence the #1 comment on every podcast. So drink. So #1, Kim, thank you for coming back to that because I wanted to make a point on that. I 100% agree because and Stephen and I have talked about this way back in the beginning so much is I think the biggest mistake people make is they just jump all around and they're like, well, I'll try this today. I'll try this tomorrow. I'll try this. And, you know, and again, we've been very consistent, Stephen and I in the early episodes, pick that one and just focus on it. And well done, Stephen, by the way, that pattern within the pattern and listen, even if it's not working, but at least get to the point where you've at least tried to find the pattern in the pattern. So,
And even Will, the way you found your pattern, it was like you went through a bunch of other patterns to get to this one that you just didn't work for you. You're like the afternoon didn't work for you. So even searching for your pattern within the pattern will get you, get all the ones that are not for you out of the way.
And there's a couple things that I look out, when you're talking about a pattern within the pattern, like, technically speaking, on breakouts, I know a lot of people like to wait for the breakout and they'll put in buy orders at that breakout. I like to wait for the breakout, and then oftentimes what happens is it gets stopped right away and there's a pullback and it pulls back below the breakout zone, and people and I like doing that because oftentimes I miss breakouts by doing this, but I get a lot better position entry by doing that. And I like specifically looking for those in those afternoon breakouts or the 945 on a highly volatile stock, a really low vote stock. It'll bust through that breakout, that thing that every day trader is looking at. And then all of a sudden, boom, it pops right back down. And that's where I like to pop my buy order in right there. Wow. And I do that because oftentimes those things, when they go through, they have that first little bit of pullback, and I specifically look for that type of pattern on breakouts, and I miss a lot of them because sometimes when they go, and then I'm done, and I don't try to chase it after that. If it doesn't meet that pullback pattern that I'm looking for right away, then I let it run, and look for another high day break. But specifically, I've been working on that. Oh yes.
You never lose money by missing.
Yep.
Never. Yes. You lose money by being early.
Yes. Well said.
Yes. I lose money all of the time doing that, and it is definitely more aggressive. I'm talking about when I'm talking about a pullback, though. I'm talking about say a $7 break and it pulls back to $6.90. Not way back. I'm just looking for that double confirmation, I guess, on the break. And so, but yeah, it's something that I definitely lost money on too. So,
but for me, Kim, just to answer, it's like I'll look at GAPAs and then I'll look to short GAPAs, and then I'm looking for gap and craps, and gap and craps is the pattern. But then I'm like, I know that some perform better in terms of probability when tracking the stats differently. So stocks that gap into a high level of volume resistance compared to stocks that gap into light volume resistance compared to stocks that gap into 52-week highs all have different probabilities. So it's all about trading the pattern within the pattern. Is it into low volume, high volume, or 52-week high resistance? And then after that, you've got the anomalies, like how much is the volume, how low is the float, what's the news, where's the sector? And then once you get that down to trade that profitably, the final step, which is I'm working on now, is how do I trade it as safely as possible and profitably so I can scale that up as much as possible. Like, and that's where I'm at now. I'm like, how do I trade this so safely that I can really scale it? And then I'm stuck. I'm figuring it out because I'm not going higher with the investments until I know I'm safe.
Can I ask you a question, Stephen? That first part you described, how did you learn that? How did you learn which ones? Is that based on your exposure to it being here for so long?
Hours,
Pain,
losing,
hours.
pain, losing.
But for those of us
over and over and over.
All right,
when
those who don't like pain.
In Rocky 3, when the reporter went up to Clubber Lang and he said, "Clubber Lang, what do you predict in this fight?" Clubber says, "Pain." That's how you learn.
Not a pain. And then I think I'm saving every one of these. I'm saving every single chart of these.
Can that pain be put into a little booklet that I and maybe the rest of us combine to save me? I don't like pain.
Actually, again, here's drink again, everyone.
No.
When it listen, I came out with a book. I mean, I plan on coming out with more books.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's not the same.
I mean, and again, Steve and I have talked about this in the past. Like when Stephen was when did you Tim? When did you kind of quit short selling these low floaters? Yeah. Pain, man. I just couldn't take the pain and throwing up on my fucking keyboard anymore. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And if I buy the breakout and I get stuffed, so be it. But I'm not, throwing up. I'm just like, I'm not doing this anymore. And it's like Mauxian, Maoxian. He's been on FinTwit forever. I've followed him for a decade. He was talking. I mean, he didn't name the name, but evidently somebody was like crowing yesterday about being down 250 grand on eyes. And coming all the way back to only losing 2,500. And the guy was like bragging about it. And I'm like, that used to be me. I ain't doing that no more. Okay. I ain't taking those swings. And it's just pain. I don't think any booklet.
Yep.
Oh, but I mean, you feel physically sick though. Like when I saw eyes at 26.
I'm not joking. I don't know if I'm actually. I think I've had like the kind of the bile buildup, but I mean, I don't know if I've ever actually thrown up on the keyboard, but I've come close.
But I'll feel sick for other shorts. Like when I saw eyes at 26, I'm like, oh, no. I'm like so much pain that other people are feeling. And what was the other one? Fell at the day, I can't remember.
Exposure. What you guys are saying is, somebody can tell it to you, but until you're viscerally experiencing that ride on the roller coaster and the pain of that dip, you gotta
that's why again, going back to the beginning of this podcast, people, Stephen and I have just begged people $500 accounts, $1,000 accounts. I mean, like, it's if you're gonna blow up, okay, you're either gonna blow up or you're gonna give up. I mean it's like you have so it's like just put $500 in. And at least then, it's not, you don't have 50 grand, 500 grand in there. And all of a sudden, at least with a $500 account, your broker's just going to kick you out of the position. It's like, and then you pull a Steven and you ghost them when they start calling you because you're into your margin and, you block them on caller ID and, it's like, hey. So.
I think that, it's almost like it's human nature. You have to experience the pain. And people, they won't they won't change unless they experience the pain. And
Yeah.
and then you almost got to ask yourself, well, when do you change? When do you get the help when do you want to learn? When do you want to
Yep.
change your setups? When do you want to track your data? Well, the answer to that is when the consequences are more than you can bear.
Yeah.
When the consequences are more than you can bear, you'll stop drinking. You'll stop hitchhiking.
Yes.
You'll stop jumping off cliffs in shallow water. You'll stop making bad trades. You'll stop doing all those bad things,
All of Steven's favorite hobbies, by the way.
Yeah. And so really, that's what it comes down to.
Prostitution, drugs, drinking, it's like you just completely ruined Steven's entire social life at this point.
So Will, what's your go-to disciplines around, the emotional side, right? When you're on those emotional rides, how do you get yourself back to neutral? Because, that's what I'm always curious about, is how does somebody watch themselves, observe themselves when they're doing things that may or may not be in their best interest?
Well, for me, and I can admit it, I have always had a negative attitude. And I can't tell you how detrimental that's been to my trading and other areas of my life. And I've really lately been really trying to work on that. And having a positive attitude and a positive outlook is everything. And things don't go my way every day, several times.
Yeah.
There's something that doesn't go my way. And I just have to understand that it's going to be like that, especially on things that I have no control over. And those are the things that I complain about the most. So,
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I usually just try to walk away and when, I walk away, I just chill somewhere where it's quiet, and, 10 or 15 minutes later, I'm okay with it, but attitude, it's just the most powerful thing. I can't even tell you enough,
That's amazing. You're aware enough to know how much that impacts you, that negative kind of perspective. So that's, look, a lot of people might be negative, but they're not even aware of the impact it has on them. So kudos to you that you're even conscious of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big factor. I can't tell you, if you have a positive attitude and you're positive about the process, and positive about taking losses, even though it financially hurts, and when things don't go your way, you have a positive outlook. And I'm not saying you have to be yippee about everything,
right.
That's where I was
yippee about everything.
Yeah.
But
that's my thing, because Will,
like
I'm the same way. And I've actually worked with Kim on this. I kind of lean towards that negative side, beat myself up a lot. And I think that, you gotta stay positive. You can't be a Pollyanna. You can't be like, again, I'll do, I believe the secret. Call up Oprah. She'll get me out of this bag holding position, but ultimately, you also got to know that the great thing about the market, the greatest thing is, and I think this is what a lot of newer, especially the bag holders, I've talked about this so many times. I mean, it's like, and maybe some of you have been there. I'm sure everybody, I'm sure Will and Steven have been there. Nothing feels better than unloading a bag, man. It's like moving on, and you're like, it's like the sun. It's like the sun comes out, and you're like, why did I hold this for hours or weeks or months or years? And you'll realize that is the great thing about the stock market, is you can just move on. There's later today, tomorrow, next week, there's going to be another opportunity. And that's what's different about a business. Yeah. I mean, you lose the big sale. I've been there.
That's true, Tim.
Where you're like, man, I need this sale to make payroll.
That's right. That's right.
And so.
Yep. It's a really good point. Where this constantly gives us an evergreen of opportunities, if we're prepared to see them, if we're trained to notice where they are. But it's a really good point. That is. So maybe this is a safer road for entrepreneurship than having your own
if you do
business.
The work,
I mean,
that's again,
think about restaurants, like the fail rate around restaurants. I mean, I'm curious, is trading, where does trading rank up against the restaurant business? They're probably pretty much neck and neck, right?
Again, I don't know if you could ever get that data, but I'm sure it's high. Yeah. I mean, it's probably, I think they say 2/3 of restaurants fail or something like that, you know. And
Yeah.
and again, I don't even, you know, they say 90% fail. I don't know where that data comes from. But I think to agree with you, Kim, I would say, you know, restaurants, day trading probably have extremely high failure rates. Okay, whatever the percentages are, you know.
But for those who get kickback from, you know, the people around them, those, you maybe just say to them, would you support me if I wanted to open a restaurant? Oh yes, that I'd support you in. Really? Because that has just as much of a fail rate.
Exactly. Oh yeah. You know, construction companies. I mean, well, hell, any small business. I mean, again, you know, you can Google the stats. I mean, I think, you know, I think it's like 5 or 7 years. If you make it there, you're like, you got a great,
right.
You know, but under 5 years, any small business, I think the failure rate's freaking through the roof. You know, so because you burn through your cash, you borrow all your money from your dad. You know, I call up Kim. I'm like, hey, you know, can you float
angel
me 50
investor,
G's?
angel investor, Kim, be an angel investor.
Just to jump in and add there though, like, because I know my brother started and had failed like 3 different businesses, like 3 different businesses failed.
Yeah.
The 4th one, he's been running like 6-7 years. It's doing extremely well.
Wow.
He's the golden boy of the family that makes me look like the black sheep, but I am rising through those ashes.
Yes, you are.
But that being said, it parallels well into trading because in terms of trading, you have to blow up 3 times.
Yeah.
And then on the 4th time, you'll get it. And it's like an entrepreneur will have 3 businesses fail, but the 4th one will work.
Yeah.
But
they all require hard work and discipline, Stephen, right? For you to be able to have not given up, you know, for your brother to not have given up, right? For Will to not have given up. Tim didn't give up. Like everybody, what's consistent here is that you have to be in it for the long haul coming in.
It's just not rocket science. It's not rocket science trading at the end of the day. It's just enduring pain. Like it's just enduring a lot of pain and still being committed through the pain. Like it's about loving the game so much that you can endure the pain and still love it. It's kind of like that.
You know, I've told that story a million times. It's like, I just, you know, it's like when you know, and there's been a million inspirational quotes, but it's just like, you know, Friday nights for me, man, it's like, you know, what am I going to do now? You know, it's like, and I think Steve, you know, Will's got that, Steven's got that. Hopefully a lot of listeners got that, where it's like, and I think that's what you need. And just like, you know, any business. I mean, back when I had my business, I mean, I'm up at midnight making to-do lists. I mean, it's like, what are we going to do tomorrow? It's like, I was obsessed with that. And that's what it takes with anything.
It's obsession though. Like my mom's obsessed with ping pong, like obsessed, like, or being the best at English literature. Like, but it's crazy that some people have got this runs in families.
How's Miss Johnson's
this obsession?
That's the game.
not that good because she's like old and stuff. But
I don't care if she's old. That's no excuse.
I mean, my game's
last year in Florida,
and
at the resort, we had a ping pong tournament, and there was like a 75-year-old lady. She thought she had game. I put her in the grave. I took her out on a stretcher. It was like 21-11.
I would trade you, Kim and Will together, and I'd beat the 3 of you with the left hand.
Ping pong sucks.
After doing 20 minutes rowing and beat me at that as well.
Yeah.
I love ping pong. But I never played like.
You won't love playing me. I
think I'm probably always a little buzzed when I play ping pong, though.
Is that not beer pong?
No, I don't play beer pong, but I think I'm always at a party where probably everybody's, you know, serving beer, and it's like summer or my cousin's house. I remember playing ping pong. Anyway, all right, we're going down a scary tangent where Tim Bohen is gonna crush Mrs. Johnson in big pong, which is I know you would.
I'm gonna get her on FaceTime right now. I'm gonna get her on FaceTime, and I want you to say that to her face.
I will. I will look into her soul.
So Will,
in classic Dave Goggins fashion, I will take her soul.
You're not taking me mom's soul, Tim. You're not taking me mom's soul.
All right, well, I'm going to try to get us back into sanity here and just ask you, for all the new traders, what are your 2 or 3 pieces of advice to those listening to you that are new and shiny and excited?
My number one bit of advice for someone who's just starting out, and that's actually already made the full commitment to educate themselves, so that's already behind them. They're already on board with getting education, because that's number one. But once you're on board, is to don't just jump into the cauldron on day one. Take the baby steps. And I know it's like the cliche to say that, but watch all the videos. I see new traders getting on chat all the time, and they're asking just some of the most basic questions that they would have learned if they would have watched all the videos. I sit here still, even now, I watch constantly. I watch tons of Steven Johnson videos, lots of Jack Kellogg's and all the Bohens. I still got half of his because he made so many, but just, you gotta watch all the material. And so you take your time. That's number one, because most of your questions will be answered as far on the basic level just by going through the process step by step. And then the second one would be tackle one issue at a time, because information overload is a killer, and it kills me still almost every day. And so focus on one little thing. One, if it's time and sales, just the left side of the timesheet, whatever. If that's all it is that you get better at that day, that's perfectly fine. But trying to just jump in on day one and then trade like that, or even day 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, is just not reasonable. And so,
where do you stand on social media in the sense of, like, how active do you think a new trader should be regarding Twitter and or that big?
I think that there are a couple. Once you've done your steps, like I mentioned earlier, I think there's a couple good accounts on Twitter that you can follow. But I absolutely do not think that you should ever follow anyone's advice ever on Twitter, ever. I mean, there's been a few instances off of Hindenburg and OTC markets that I've gotten a couple tips, and things ended up working out after I did the research myself and then gained entry on the chart. But use it as a guide of maybe what the next hot sector might be, or something in general like that. Awesome. Don't ever follow those leads. Oh my God, you will blow up. I blew up for years doing it. You will.
Well, do you have, what's your Twitter handle if other people watching this want to watch you?
Gosh, I hardly go on there at all. It's my name.
All the best.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I literally
good for you.
I literally just follow like 10, 15 people, and that's it.
That's awesome.
Keep it real focused.
Good job.
Yeah.
Well, you're amazing. You're very inspiring.
Well, I appreciate that. I got a long way to go, but it's because of all you guys. It really is, and the rest of the people that aren't on here right now. It's like I said, I'm always going to be learning, and I'm very grateful. So very.
Just to echo what Will's saying, and it's the exact same for me. Like, master one pattern, master one pattern, get it down, master the pattern within the pattern, then master the next one, then master the next one. But just master one. Don't be a jack of all trades, because you'll be the trader of none, or the expert of none, whatever, however it is. But is that right, Will?
That is right. I used to just jump in on anything, and I didn't even know what a pattern was. I really, honestly, until about a year and a half ago, I didn't know what a pattern was. I mean, I kind of, had an idea, but you have to master one pattern. For me, it was the afternoon high percentage breakout pattern, and specifically, you just got to focus on the one until you're really good at it, and you will get good at it if you do it long enough, and then dabble on another pattern, but
And the question is, how can you not get good at it? If you look at one piece of price action, one pattern at one small time frame, like 9:30 till 9:40, 9:30 till 9:45, how can you not master a 15-minute window of one specific pattern? Because there's not that many. Do you know what I mean? You just this one's doing this, that one's doing that. Why is it doing this?
Yeah, to learn level 2, for instance, people ask me that all the time, and it's important in some aspects of trading, not all aspects of trading, but I used to sit there and just watch 2 specific market makers trade back and forth for hours and hours until I realized what they were doing. And those guys are the ones that manipulate the market and make the price action go up and down, or they start the manipulation and then everyone else jumps on board. But I used to watch that over and over until I was just so sick of watching CIDM, just like, ugh. But that's how I learned how to read it.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Will.
Yeah, that would be my advice.
Pain tolerance.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be the recurring theme. But whether it be pain in learning the trades, or the pain that Steven's mother will feel with my ping pong balls blazing off of her face. Yeah, did you guys see the other day when The Rock was doing the cupping? On his back. That's what Steven's mother's face and upper torso will look like when I'm done playing ping pong with her. So she's got that to look forward to.
You're like you're not playing badminton, I'll tell you that.
So anyway, Will, thanks. Again, and we recently had Crown on. It's been awesome to have you two, Crown and BB in the chat room. 2 of the most amazing contributors. I tell you, it's like, I said it earlier. It's like I can't remember the last time that, I get on chat at 6:37 and, do the good morning, and BB's there, man. And every day, putting in that work, and you're a great contributor, especially with, we're still kind of, hopefully this OTC stock keeps running and or OTC run. And, that's kind of been his specialty and been a huge help, because I'm more the listed guy. So every morning he's dropping in those OTC stocks that have, closed it on high volume, closed at 52. So it's been a big help to me. And that's what's great about the group we have. So, thank you. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Kim.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
to
you,
everyone out there, as always, definitely check out SteadyTrade.com. I don't know if we necessarily mentioned any links, but if we mention past episodes or links or anything, we have the whole write-up over there. Check us out on SteadyTrade or on iTunes, on YouTube. We're pretty much everywhere. And let us know what you think. As always, we're always looking to improve. If there's a topic or a series, or we haven't done a book in a while, if there's a book you want us to go over, we're always looking for ideas, and drop those wherever, whether it be on YouTube or on SteadyTrade.com, or drop us an email. And thank you, Kim. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Steven. And have a great day, everyone.